So dudes be out there making beats nowadays, and no organic playing. So my one of the things I do just once in a while, if my brother-in-law calls me up and says, "Dude, I need a piano on this thing," he won't know how to play it because he's not a piano player. He's actually a drummer.
Yeah, I know, Serge.
Right.
Of course.
Moment 3, guys. For all nations. We know the same people, man. Yeah, so Ms. Ortiz, Connection, First Trumpet. I'll play trumpet, Ms. Ortiz. This is how I got to trumpet, to kind of connect that before we move on. But Ms. Ortiz, after the whole hitting the desk thing, going into third grade, because I was, I think, second grade, going into third grade and into fourth grade, she got me to meet the band teacher. And, he was like, I got drummers, but, she said, take up trumpet. Mm-hmm. And I said, okay, whatever. So I took up trumpet with him. So fourth grade, I started playing trumpet. Third, fourth grade in there. And then when I went to middle school, I continued playing trumpet. Right. And, but I still had a love for drums because of my Latin upbringing. I love playing congas, timbales, stuff like that. Still haven't thought about piano yet.
Right.
Yet, she did give classes on music in a way that it gave me an interest in notes and stuff like that I never got a chance to get into. But trumpet gave me what I needed. So it just continued to be my first instrument all the way up to middle school. I don't know if this may be another moment. Dr. Lyle Smith. Okay. Moment number 4, y'all. I'm going to just do that. You guys going to get tired. So Dr. Lyle was, she's a flugelhorn player.
Yes.
Her songs, she wrote a song. I could still sing the notes of her song. Ba 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 da ba da ba ba da ba ba. She was the bomb, bro. But guess how I caught her? Through singing choir, like actual vocal choir. So she was the choir music director in every way, right? But she got me in choir, and she put me in the jazz band because she was all about jazz. So she put me in the jazz band for middle school, at the same time still learning trumpet. So, fell in love with her flugelhorn, bro. The way she played that song. And I wanted to learn it, so I started listening to I forget if it's 106.1, the jazz station. It's like one of those pop jazz where you Kenny G stuff or something like that. And I think it was Dave Koss. Everybody knows that, John. I had a mission to learn this song.
Yeah.
And I told Dr. Lau, I heard this song. You want to learn that? All right, I'm going to teach you how you play that. But you got to be serious about it. Because that's my first instrument. So if you're going to play, you got to play it right. Mm-hmm. She's telling me in. So I'm like, all right, cool. So I go home and she gives me the sheet music. And, that's how they teach in school. It's all about reading. It's all about looking at that. So I have a little bit of background with that because of that. So she gave me that. And that's how I kind of stuck with it. And I never forgot those lessons of trumpet. She got me in choir because she heard I had a voice. Mm-hmm. And that was the lesson I think I told your wifey too, Ishana. I told her the story how she literally slapped me because I started trying to solo in the middle of a choir session and with my voice. Mm-hmm. Nobody has ever done that. Me growing up, I always heard that in Puerto Rico, they had paddles to hit the kids in the rear end when they were, in Puerto Rico, that was okay. Out here is almost like a case if a teacher touched you.
Right. But
it wasn't like that with Dr. Lau. Dr. Lau just, she taught me the meaning of respect with that slap because I was acting up. I was thinking I could just whatever. And that brought me to a place of humility, of understanding my place in music, respecting the craft of what I was in. And to this day now, I lead music, I lead worship at the church, but it always brings back memories when I'm leading people in song and leading people in an instrument, how much respect I have for each part and each person at doing their part and how it comes together. I don't get frustrated with people anymore when it comes to teaching. I'm very short with that because I want to already hear the finished product, you know, and I hear it in my head, but not know how to communicate it to people to play. So that taught me a lot. So Dr. Lau is another person, man. Ms. Ortiz, Dr. Lau, trumpet,
Yeah, I'm
you know.
sure we had some others.
Bro, we're just getting started. This is just the beginning of it, and I'm just thinking like right now, you're going into high school. What was your? Because my high school experience started with marching band. I was still in 6th grade. Dr. Lau left Hatch.
Okay.
She left Hatch. She went to Camden High.
Okay.
She took me with her for the marching band.
Oh,
so I was in 6th grade,
Playing,
leaving at 3:30, running to Camden High to be on time to be in marching band for the freshmen. I was playing with them. So she put me in there, even though I wasn't allowed.
Yeah.
But she put me in. So that was before I got to high school, I was already in the marching band in high school. So that was like how she brought me into that. So that's a whole different. I don't know if have you done marching band before?
Yeah, I have.
How was your experience with that? Who was your teacher there?
So
here comes another moment. I could just feel it.
now, well, we're gonna have this moment before I get to high school because I kind of had a gap. So from the time I started playing the trumpet, because Sharp School only goes to 5th grade.
Right.
And
okay.
me and Sergio, we graduated together. We actually had a jazz band there. He was on the drums. I was on the trumpet.
Oh.
Yes,
okay.
we had a jazz band.
Oh, that's super cool, man. That's so interesting.
Like we go way back. That's what I say, way back.
He went in solo for the life of him now.
Listen,
but back then
he had his own drum set. And it was me, Mr. Wallace, who was also a horn player. We had a saxophone player and a trombone player.
Okay.
And it was just a jazz band created in an elementary school.
Wow. That's really cool, man.
So, Sharp, it only went up to 5th grade. My 6th to 8th grade, I went to St. Joe's.
Okay.
They had no band. So it's like...
The saint in the front of it already tells me that's a Catholic school?
It's a Catholic school.
So why is it that they never...
School, They just didn't have a music program.
Huh.
So, you would think it's the end of the world for me. Like, okay, well, I guess there's not gonna be any music.
It would have been
for
me.
3 years.
Yeah. Wow.
But, thankfully, there was a thing called All City Band.
Okay.
That I attended. That's where I met Dr. Lyle Smith.
Okay.
Mr. Parks, another beast on the keys. Mr. Bates, everybody knows.
Bro,
Mr.
we were just rubbing shoulders with the greats.
Yeah, so that's how I continued my trumpet journey.
Gotcha.
So from 6th to 8th grade, that's how I maintained my trumpet. So everything I learned was from
Do you still have a trumpet?
I don't.
Oh!
But I want to get one.
I got you, bro. I got two in the studio.
Okay.
I got you.
Yeah, because I was like, man, I still got it in me. I still know how to read.
Yeah,
so,
I got you. So if you want to dabble a little bit and bring it back, I got you.
Right,
I'll put one in your lap so you can kind of do your thing. I've done some trumpet recording for just a couple songs here and there for the church.
Okay.
And, nice, warm, little basic things because I wasn't by any means a Dave Koz or anybody great, but it was my beginnings and I always have a love for it. So I ended up buying a flugelhorn. On Amazon, though. If you go on Amazon, I fell in love with this all black trumpet. All black flugelhorn made of plastic, bro.
What?
Ridiculous. It's a different, warmer sound, bro. For whatever reason, it just struck the right chord for me. So I got it. It's. I'll show it to you one day.
Yes.
Beautiful, bro. Got to get it, and it's not really expensive on there. But that's cool. So you
I did All City Band.
All City
from 6th to 8th grade, and then after I graduated from St. Joe's, I stayed in the Saints. So I went to Camden Catholic.
Okay.
So Mr. GM Fortune, was the music teacher there.
Okay.
And you would think like, okay, you're going to a Catholic school, ain't no big deal. This guy was
the real deal.
He was hard on me, and he's one of the main reasons why I elevated in trumpet. He was hard on his son. His son was in the same grade as me and was a trumpet player, and he was hard on me just as he was on his son.
That's valuable, though.
Right. So he saw the value in me.
Wow.
So marching band, that's when I was introduced to marching band, going to Camden Catholic. So yeah, when we would play Camden High every now and then, we would be out
Those
there
would
playing.
be the rivals I hear a lot.
Yeah.
Camden Catholic and Camden High going in.
Yeah. So Camden Catholic, Camden High, Wilson.
We must have rubbed shoulders on some
we
occasions,
had to.
bro.
We had to.
I was out there in the field, bro, wearing them heavy.
Yes.
I was on quads, lead snare on a lot of times. I did the bass drum. I did all of that.
I mean, they would have us all on separate sides, but
going up them bleachers.
You would hear.
No, yeah, man.
You would hear it.
Oh,
but
man.
That's when I was introduced to marching band. Mm-hmm. And then, like I said, Mr. G was always very hard on me as far as getting better, being the best that I could be.
Yeah.
So they had jazz band, they had fusion band.
Wow.
And Camden Catholic is known for plays too. They do their plays.
Okay.
So I didn't think I would ever be I didn't think I would be in fusion band. I didn't think I would be in jazz band. I just thought I was just going to be in a regular concert band. And, but he pushed me to be in that, in the plays, the fusion band.
That's great.
So
that's good exposure, man.
So the weekends, it would be okay, we got to play on Friday, Saturday. Right, because
it plays. And they're 3 shows a day, a night or whatever. Oh, man, that's really cool.
Yeah, but I benefited so much for being a part of that. And I still participated in All City Band. Wow. So it's I had
you still played at the church too, right?
Yes, I still did all that.
Went on Sunday, so you're just surrounded.
Yes, I was just surrounded. My gift, I was just building on.
That is beautiful.
Continue to elevate it. There's never a point for you to stop learning something,
right?
Especially with music.
Yeah,
there's always something to learn. You can never be I'm here and that's it.
Yeah,
I reached my peak. Now, there's still more you can do.
Absolutely.
Just keep going. Reach for the skies. Keep going.
That's real.
Doesn't it?
Cool.
So that's how I was introduced to the marching band. And I was just wow, this is a lot, but I'm loving it too because my gift is growing.
Yeah.
As far as
that's beautiful. Trumpet. When did you first feel? For us, it's different, right? Because we were brought up in church. Mm-hmm. We never stopped playing in church. Like you just mentioned, you played in all these different, outlets from school, and it expanded to more different things. Never stopped playing in church. When did you start feeling the tug? And anybody who knows being in church knows what the tug means. That heart tug from God saying, this is more than just playing. This is now a calling on your life. This is something that you're going to be doing for the rest of your life, which is why the exposure and all the different opportunities and stuff God opens up. When did you feel that it was already time to, you knew this was for the long haul? You will always be a part of a ministry leading worship.
I would say my sophomore year.
Yeah, I would think so.
Yeah, I would say my sophomore year at Camden Catholic. That's when I felt that tug.
Yeah, because you did say it elevated you. Guy was being on you to for excellence. Yeah. So it's almost like a calling card. If you didn't know your call, well now you know because not many people. It's not for the faint of heart. To really go to the next level musically, you gotta want to know and want to. Take it there, because it's not just playing harder or playing longer. Now you got to learn the music, got to commit to events, commit to rehearsals, commit to leading things that you weren't, so all that comes along. If you're not called, you probably just quit.
Just quit.
But you kept going.
I kept going.
Doing
everything.
And it kept on elevating. Now, how after you've graduated, you went to college. You said you briefly mentioned going to college, and you continue to play. When did it become now the gigs started coming in?
Well, before I started the gigging, or
sure, it is what we call it now,
the gigging.
Yeah, well, you get paid for what you do.
Right, you get paid for it. I actually didn't jump into that right away.
Okay.
Because, as I said earlier, I'm a choir guy. I like choirs. I grew up in the church, and I liked Hezekiah Walker and John P. Key. The choir was everything to me. So I wanted to create my own little choir. So I created a young adult choir.
Wow.
And it's called Fresh Anointing Choir.
Wow.
And basically, we would just be locally
Yeah.
around in the Camden area.
Yeah.
We sang at Rutgers before. We sang at Rowan before.
Wow.
And when we would have our district meetings, we would go together and we would sing. Like, my thing was always voices. So I'm teaching voices. Like, this is your note, sopranos.
Right.
And then to be able to be free to not have to sit at the playing the piano all the time. Right. There were songs I can get up and direct or lead. Mm-hmm. Like, I ain't no singer like you.
Oh, no, see, no. Listen, I'm just yelling at a mic, keeping a tone.
Right.
And like you said, we lead people.
Yeah,
my mom, she's a very emotional being. Like, when she sings, that's where I get my voice from. That side of the family where there are a lot of singers. So that's where I get my pipes from her, because she's very big and you know, and dramatic and very emotional singer. So I get that from her, the emotional part, and just going in that way. So a lot of times the music that we sing in church now, contemporary music, is not so gospel choppy. You know, now we got like Maverick trying to blend it all in.
Put it all together.
But works.
You know who started it before Maverick City? You know who started this whole blend?
Wow.
I mean, you might have somebody in mind. I have a person in mind that I believe started this whole blend of gospel.
Let's
CCF.
see. Give me a second. All right.
Let me
and then we're gonna say it on 3.
Right.
Let me see. All right. I mean, I could.
Let me see if we say the same way. We're probably gonna say something different, but you never know.
You never know. But see, this is the thing. Before we say it, right?
All right.
The genre went through a transition at a certain point in the 90s, right? Into 2000. And there was a lot of artists that were signed under this one person that started a transition into this. Now, there were others that then came around that then after that, you know, really made it like a point to say gospel and CCM can become one, and brought it to the masses in such a revolutionary way that now, and I'm gonna tell you this, not even Kirk has, you know, like that sound.
No, it doesn't.
So on 3, 1, 2, 3, Ty Tribbett. Who you said? Israel. Well, you know, but you know they come together.
They do
a lot, but Israel is the top.
Right.
Ty is my dude, right?
Oh, yeah,
I love how he puts that together, but Israel was first.
Israel
was out first. Not even Fred. Like, I went to a concert in Six Flags years ago. And it was Israel and Fred Hammond on the same stage.
Oh, I was there.
Oh, bro, it was so cool. My dude came out in shorts.
Man.
He was chilling, like he just got off a ride and came on the stage. He was off the hook, bro. Just the feel. Like, Fred Hammond was the feel, the vibe, the R&B, the slow jam, the sound. I still remember that day. But then when Israel came out and he had, you know, I'm a friend of God and all them songs, and it's like, this is different. This is like I'm familiar with it, but then again, I'm not.
Right.
Like, me personally, because gospel wasn't my strength, but I could hear his CCM coming through, and I could even hear some of the Latin stuff.
Right.
He really blended a lot of it. Yeah, he's a big mix, like, you know, and I think later down the line, the influence of then now get into the Ty Tribbetts and get into these people where Maverick then now is they all have this like sense of, you know, a blend, a mix that is a healthy balance between having the CCM influence, gospel influence, and even Latino influence in some cases where you can now appreciate. But Israel continues to lead the way in a lot of that. He has albums now that he's doing corritos now, and he ain't scared, you know. He married who was it? Adrian, is it? Yeah, and she's Puerto Rican, and I think that brought in a lot of the, you know. So as a perfect segue to that, by the way, you know, I think it's really interesting the journey that we all get in, you know, as we grow in our musical journeys, you know. It's super cool. The paths that we've crossed from teachers to even events that who knows in school we crossed paths and we didn't even know about each other like that.
Right.
And even people that we know personally, friends of ours. I mean, my brother-in-law, from that, you probably seen my wife once or twice here and there, who is my wife now. Back then in high school, right. She couldn't stand me, she couldn't get past me. She was like that conceited little Puerto Rican boy has no business, like nothing. And God somehow, like just the love and God being the ultimate Cupid man, and he's the man. He made it happen.
That does it.
How was your journey growing? Now you have how many kids now?
6.
So we're thinking about now legacy, journeying, and I'm teaching my kids, and this is one thing I always tell people on interviews. Just because I'm a worship leader doesn't mean all my kids are going to be worship leaders. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just the reality of it. But at the end of the day, we know that there is a bloodline that comes together. Now, I'm going to show you guys a picture. I'm going to show you right here. And this is the family right here. This is his family. 6 kids. And Ishana himself. 6 kids, right? Would you tell that they are the current parents of these 6 children? However, there's a journey in this picture, and this picture, and this picture. And it's an amazing thing how God, even in the midst of a broken situation, in the midst of different journeys, because I'm doing this on purpose, separate interview with Lindsey. I did an interview with Ishana that you guys have seen at least a part of. But I did them separately because they are a couple together, and there's a beautiful journey that you get to discover, and how God interweaves all of these different pasts, all of these different journeys into becoming this one beautiful tapestry of something that people watch and look at. And I wanted to display that in this show, at least, for you guys to see how even in the midst of things that seem weird and spiral out of control, God can continue to create something beautiful out of all that mess that we can't even imagine how to put it together. Now, I know somebody from the past that is in your past, that we went to church growing up together. We've crossed paths. And it was interesting knowing that later down the line, you guys got married, right? And it was just a journey of like, that's, I think, how I initially might have met you officially. Like, you came to my church for an event. Yes. I think they had her come out. Yes. And you were there, and you played, and the band was there, and it was pretty cool. And you produced this album. Correct. And it was your marriage. That was your marriage at the time, right?
Yes, it was. Then
later down the line, I found out through friends, because we have the same, almost the background of the same friends, and that she wasn't with you anymore, and that split up and officially, but you had a child together, right? Melody, yes. Right? And this is her picture here, and wonderful child. Like I the little bits of times that I get to get with you guys for dinner and just talk to her, it's like a beautiful moment in time with her, because she has the same like mindset.
Remember that
musically,
recording,
bro? And I'm going in that route. I wouldn't play it because she would kill me, but it was cool listening to her mind.
Right.
Listening to her mind. You know what I'm saying? Like, she recorded something that was like this. You made this. So she showed me this audio, and I was like stupefied listening to this thing. I'm like, yo, this is crazy. This is really good. Like, just the mindset of it. And of course, I look at your face, and you're like, proud dad. Like, yeah, she made that. It was amazing. It was cool. And it was like, this is great. And that's just like the fruit of your labor personified in this. Like, now we go into, the next how many years, and I'm seeing Ishana's journey on my end, because she's growing up in my church, right? So I did this event, which you guys will know from her side of the fence, where I invited, which was the same event that you came in years before. I did 3 of those events, I think, in the span of like 3 to 4 years. This last, I think it was the first one. You guys probably came for that second one, which is so weird to think about, right? Like, you guys were there too.
You're right.
She was there too.
Right.
Like, it was just what? It's just mind-boggling how God works these things out, but it's crazy.
Right.
I think that was the first year that you guys came. The second year, she came around, or you guys came around. She came first, and then, so Ishana was in the first one. She gave her life to Christ there. Then the second, I think I did one. That's when you came around, and then with the band and your ex-wife, right? And then years later, I would then have the privilege of seeing Ishana marry again. Mm-hmm. That was another journey I saw with her. She had
you big brother.
I think two kids from that, I think, right? Or one kid from that. No, and there was somebody before that, right? So and she talked about this, you know, so it was a journey. It was an interesting thing to talk about it and really understand like her side of how these things happen, right? You know, like her upbringing and stuff, but connecting it to you, right? So then all of a sudden we're going into years now, and then now I hear about a Lindsey in her life, and she's a part of the worship team, and she's like, yeah, he's a friend. We're just talking, blah, 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 blah. And she's like my little sister. So we've been together for a long time. Yeah, when her uncle lived out here, she lived with him. And me and her uncle were tight. Like we talked a lot. He would love being in the worship. And he was always encouraging her with that. She was in her college years at that time. You know, I saw every single journey person that she had a kid with, and her family. I've been in every, you know, what is it, graduation party, and I've been in all the birthday parties, and this place on the other side, right here on the other side of this wall, was where she had a graduation party. Which full circle, now we have the place. It's ours now. But this used to be a fire hall, which is in her video. You get to see the fire trophies from the case. I put a couple here just to kind of show and honor and nod that. And I remember that day, like I was the DJ for that party. So I remember that day. Yeah. And then years later, you know, we got Mike, you know, and then after Mike, we got Anaya, I think, is it? No, Anaya was first, and then Mike. Yeah. And then years later, we're at our church, we're producing an album. And we're recording, I think, I want to say it's Christmas 2015. And we started recording one of our first EPs. And then after that, we did a couple more albums. And then from those couple albums, one of those Christmases, we that's when she talked to us and told me, my wife was a big part of her journey growing up as well. So she would always consult my wife for things and stuff. And she would come up and tell us about it. And then I heard your name, and I'm like, oh, I think I know this guy. And then, you know, it was interesting because then I think she told me that she met you at a mutual place that I used to go. And once in a blue, they will bring me into play. And I think we played one time as primary worship band at one time. And you were there, and I think Benny was there.
Yes.
We knew Benny, another moment. You know, that's a whole thing with Benny. Like, me and Benny go way back.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. I'm trying to bring him for one of the prayer gatherings to play something. Pursuit of drums, really. He had a drum that's a pursuit of sound, you know, and it was his kick. It was his thing. It was crazy. And then he got into bass. You know, he did really good with that. But we go way back, man. As far as like, if you seeing this, bro, remember when you brought me in to play with Los Primogenitos? Well, with the man of like the head singer of Primogenitos, I was just learning how to play, bro. And he brought me into this thing because he thought I was pretty good. And I was like a fish out of water. I had no idea what I was doing. And so we go way back. So I love Benny, bro. So, but then that's, I think, one of those events I think you met with, I think Shoshana says she met you. She did a spoken word thing.
Yeah, it was October 2017. It was
so it was a couple.
Lit and Gifted. That's what it was called. Lit and Gifted.
I remember that. Remember that.
Lit and Gifted. It was the ministry was Stay Lit Ministries.
I remember.
Stay Lit.
I remember the call. Somebody was telling me they wanted me to come through to that. All right, I remember. Lit and Gifted.
Yeah.
Stay lit.
So basically, artists, poets, dancers all come together to display the talent that God has given them. I was mainly running around, making sure the sound was right, making sure everybody was set. I did play for one of the singers there, but I wasn't like the vocal, like I wasn't there to play. I was just there to manage, making sure the sound and everything.
You were what Ty Tribbett used to call me as Slash.
Yeah.
You did piano, lead, Slash.
Right.
Did sound, Slash.
Right.
Yeah.
So I was just, like just making sure managing and stuff, the like little fill-ins and stuff like that. But yeah, that's where we initially met. Like we met there, and I just remember like when I was shutting everything down, we was about to lock up the church and making sure everything was off. I was on my way out to leave for the night, and she had stopped me, and she was like, would you like to support my ministry? She had merchandise out selling, and I was just like, why not?
Right.
It's for the kingdom.
Right, right.
And then she was like, well, which one do you want?
Stay
and
lit.
I was just like, right,
stay lit.
And I was just like, what is God telling you?
Right.
What is God telling you to give me? Like, I'm going to leave this on you because maybe you have a word that I need to receive.
Oh, that's that lit game, bro. Oh, that's that lit game. Oh, man, you going in. Like, I think you all felt the Holy Spirit speak over your lives at that moment, huh?
So it was, she gave me one with a lion on there. Actually, I think I had the quote here.
That's good.
So it says, even as a lion, I lie humbly at your feet. I am the leader of my pack, but you are the leader of me. And I still have it. Wow. I still have the plaque.
Wow.
Yeah, I still have it.
That's
and
amazing.
It's still in great shape and everything.
Prophetic,
like,
bro.
This is where we met. Like, this was our initial meet. Didn't think that years later we would reconnect and be getting married and have kids.
And now you have with her three more. And that's where the six come together.
Yes, that's when the six.
And that's where the six. Now, when you saw the picture, you would never tell that they had journeys in between that made this family. Because again, I'm a true believer that nothing is coincidence. Nowadays, now you guys are all friends. You guys, you guys communicate. You guys can see each other without an awkwardness. Right. Like it's beautiful to see the healing. Even on the other side, everybody else is married. They got their own things going on. Right. Everybody's moved on. And God has brought a beautiful balance to your lives. That is such a great, great testimony. For people to just kind of know and understand that it is possible, even in the midst of when you think you've probably been married once or twice or third or whatever, got all these kids, and I hate when people call them baggage, and it is, hey, lessons. I know it's hard work.
It is.
It's hard work, but baggage, I don't know. I don't think that's appropriate to say. Because, God has a purpose. And like I love that quote. And it's like leader of the pack, and it's a pack, man. And it's a pack. I think once you cross the threshold of 3 kids, you start feeling the pack feel, I can't get an apartment that is a 5 up apartment. Like everything's 4, family of 4. It's time to get a house on the market type of thing. That's when people start looking at you like you need a house.
Right.
You need a garage. You need 2 cars.
Right.
You need an extra income. Right. You need this. You need that.
Right.
So you play at a church full time, right?
Yes.
You are a worship leader there.
Yes, correct.
Here's a clip. And I stalk him, y'all. I love this man.
Really do.
I literally take shots. Like I screenshot the YouTube page. He comes on streaming on Sundays once in a while, and I show him, hey, I'm watching. Hey, you guys, cool, man. Like because I've come to like understand that there must be something that God wants from even our relationship as friends, and as we develop our friendship too, getting to know each other more and more. It's such a beautiful thing where God even continues from now your marriage and your children and now even your friends. And we both have friends that don't necessarily serve the Lord, and I think there's something there that God wants to expand as much as we've given God the time to expand our musical knowledge, now he wants us to expand our spiritual knowledge, yes. And start pulling in from those experiences and those influences that we had. Because I'm pretty sure you seem to me like you're an alpha to your friends.
Yeah.
It's almost like they'll look at you and say, he's my leader. Mm-hmm. Oh, I don't, what Lindsey want to do? You know, like that kind of thing. And if you've heard that as a familiar thing, I've heard that as a familiar thing. It's almost like there's always this next part of the calling now that God is saying, this was the music. Now here's your influence as a man now.
Right.
In the time that you're in, for such a time as this now, right? I think part of the conversation I had with Ashana was that nowadays, you know, in her side of the fence in poetry and spoken word and all that, you know, you got people that they write a little different now. Their writing is different now. They're what they're talking about is different now. You know, their terminologies and the way they speak about things in the world now, even things that you watch on TV are different now.
Yeah.
So it's like the music also became the biggest influence of different. What did you think about the Usher Super Bowl thing?
I mean, it took me back, man. I ain't gonna lie. Like I thought it was awesome.
See.
I thought it was awesome.
I thought it was awesome.
I thought it was awesome.
I thought it was awesome. It was like it was refreshing.
Yeah.
Because it felt like a party.
Right.
It felt like I was having fun back in the 2000 era.
Right. This
You know,
is when
going in.
people were actually singing.
Yeah,
like, sing.
and he had the big boy.
Right.
You know, when they got the big boy,
Yeah.
they're trying to really sing.
Yeah.
While they're moving around.
Right.
And you can hear them trying to move while they, you know, you can hear
Yes,
the
you
fatigue
can.
of him trying to keep
Right.
his vocal. You heard people off.
Right.
There were people that weren't supposed to be off, were off.
Wow.
I appreciate something like that.
Right.
You know what? You know what? I know they were off, but they weren't always off.
No.
Right? And I think that it's come to a point where now people are kind of like, there was I think I watch interviews by Apple Music and stuff sometimes,
yeah.
and I'll see like Zayn or anybody who's on there, and they were talking about the Super Bowl thing, and you know they were like really brushing it over, like, oh, okay, Alicia was a little, hey, but it is what it is. She's got a track record of like being off the hook anyway.
Yeah.
But it happens. But you know why I appreciate it? Because it's real.
Yeah.
It's not some lip syncing,
Right. Which has happened before.
Yeah, we've had people that they missed the track and they're like,
yeah.
okay.
Oh, yeah.
Right? I'm like, what? So we've had some tragedies there.
Yeah, right.
You know, to say the least, I ask because it's like we see it the same way because we come from the same place of that I'm still the dude that says we're going to make a beat. But I'm bringing a drummer in. I'm micing the drums. I want a real drum.
Right.
You know, I'll make a hip hop beat with real drum set, you know, and mix it in with some like hi-hats that make the trap sound or the drill, whatever they do nowadays. I try to stay up on top of that, but still with the organic flow and the feel. Like I mentioned earlier, I love having you come on and I get to hear what the gospel feel behind it. And even if you're just playing like some sort of vintage Rhodes, and that Rhodes just strikes different, hits different, outside of when I say, yo, do the organ on this song, and you know, or even the pads, like everything is just, everybody has their chops that are different. I had a young man there too that on the prayer gathering, he's from Lancaster. He's part of our district, and you know, I think he had the best time of his life. He will probably, you know, one day I'll get him on here too, because it was like an exposure to so much different like musicality forms, all in the same songs that he does on Sunday in a very different key, different thing, you know. And we brought, and without having all the chord charts and, you know, the Ableton Live in your ear, and then 1, 2, 3, and all this, and just freedom and just playing. And there's an excellence to that. I don't know what you think about that, but there's an excellence to the click. But sometimes it's like you want to turn the voice off and just kind of flow in the spirit, you know? And you leading now, how does that feel for you, being a part of a team that you have to now constantly be on top of making decisions with songs? And how do you balance now? Would you call your church Black church? Would you call your church gospel only church? Would you call your church, you know, how do you see where you now serve? Because it's not where you grew up, right?
No, it's not.
So how does that look like, excuse me, now?
So basically, I wouldn't call it a black church, or like, I guess I would say our worship is like universal. It's in the middle.
Sure.
So we can have like gospel worship, but then we can have the CCM. So it's a blend of both.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't want to put it in any particular type of category.
Yeah, I feel the same way about my church. Yeah, we're in the same boat.
Now the old Lindsey would be like gospel only.
Sure.
But You're talking to me. I've been in Kojic, which is Church of God in Christ, for 20 plus years. Then I got married. It didn't work out for us to stay in Kojic. Then we went to Assemblies of God, which was a complete page turner for me.
Gotcha.
Because I went from playing gospel to playing What Is This? You mean I'm only playing 4 chords?
Right.
That's it. And then
Circle of Fifths is a real deal.
We do this thing called corridos, and I'm like, what? How?
2 chords.
What? Right.
Hey, merengue style. That's it.
But
for 45 minutes.
Again, that was enhancing my gift because I had to learn it.
Yeah.
So it was just like, okay, this is just not a gospel world.
Yeah.
So we do have CCM and we do have other styles.
So that's when you started seeing the exposure.
Bringing it all together.
That's amazing.
And that's really what opened the door because I wasn't just a gospel player. I could play CCM. I could play some Spanish.
I think that's where I met you at Lion of Judah, I believe it is. That's where I met you way back in the day. I played once or twice there. And maybe once I saw you there. And then another time I went, you weren't there. There was another brother there playing. On a motif, I remember. Older motif. Yeah. So I remember the instruments too.
Yeah,
that's a musician thing. Yeah.
Motif.
This is the brother. He was on that motif. MM8 or not MM8. It was a 6. Yeah. Mo 6. Yeah. Yeah, I remember that one. That was like everybody's go-to at that time.
It had all the sounds. It had everything you needed.
The faders and it was pretty cool.
Out, padded out.
Yeah. Now I play on a. It's a hybrid I made because I'm not paying $5,000 for a Nord Stage 4, right? Yeah, so I have a Nord Electro 6D, and that is the 61 key 76 key version, and it's MIDI'd to my Motif 8, so Mo 8. I get my sounds from them. I love the Nord sound. It's an organic, nice woody sound. I literally went on the website. I took out the plugins from what they have, like they call it the Royal Grand, or took them out and took just their number 1 grand sound. And it's a big file, so I had to like delete some things. But all I wanted was that piano and a good pad. For Sunday mornings. That's usually what I use, and it works for me. And of course, they have the module of the organ there, so I fake it to make it, bro. I bring up the fader when it's time, and I can make it real rich like a Leslie, or make it real Catholic sounding, you know. And it sounds really cool, and I fake it to make it because I'm not an organist, but it sounds really nice the way Nord does it. So I do that now. I just kind of put the MIDI together, and I love the heavy-weighted feel. I've always loved that, so I keep the Mo on there for that reason before I got the Nord. So it's like my go-to. What do you use now? What's your gear look like?
Well, at the church they have the Nord 88 key.
Nice. And that's the grand. I think I saw the grand.
Yes, it is.
Beautiful, bro.
Oh my goodness, it feels so wonderful.
I mean, you can't take that on your shoulder and gig. No, it stays in the church.
Yeah, I'll be
but it's beautiful. I bet you'd be feeling to want to play that all week. Get home to that. You want to come back home to that.
It's
you know,
so many things you can do on there. It's just like.
Does it have the faders as a grand or no?
No, it doesn't.
Does it have the organ sound? At least you can fade up. So okay, so that's why I got the electro, because it has the faders that you can go up. And I still don't know how to manage that though, because I know it does like manage the richness and the muffledness of the sound. It's almost like it really does what a Leslie, you know, like you know the speaker sound, but then also the rotary, and the drawbars is what I want to say.
The drawbars,
and I got to learn how to use that as well.
Oh yeah,
you know.
It's a technique.
Yeah, I know, and I got to learn it. I got to know how to do that. I would wish to just have an organist there, you know, have somebody that knows and plays it. I had a brother there years ago that he used to play that part for me, you know. So when we used to really rock some of these CCM songs that are like just popish. Bro, put that organ in there. Ooh, sweeten the deal, bro. Sweeten the deal. People were just like, you know, like that song just hit the right way on that Sunday that you won't get on K-Love. You won't get on Air One. You won't even get it on the gospel channel because it sounds like there's still some CCM there, but with that pop sound, with that organ. Yeah. And then my drummer, Hezekiah, you know him too, right? Yes. Like he's just like, you know, he's gospel chops with the mindset of a CCM player. He knows how to bring it in. He does. The way that, like, I would say how Elevation does now, you know, and Maverick City, and they they're not trying to overdo it. You know, they have a nice balance to the
It's
sound.
simple, but it's effective.
Yeah, yeah. So now we're like, as we wrap up this conversation, because I could be here all day, all night,
You know what?
with you, and I want to be sensitive to your time and my time as well, as we still have to work tomorrow, right? So,
Yeah.
and we got a family. But the reality is, I see the journey now coming to a place where what is next in the horizon now, as you're leader of the pack, you're in school, right? You're working. What do you do for a living? Normally, your main job, your 9 to 5.
So I'm a caseworker at Camden County Board
Gotcha.
of Social Services.
Gotcha.
I've been working with social services for 12 years.
Yeah,
This is my 12th year.
that's
So,
amazing.
For so long.
Yeah,
I've
and
been
you've done
doing
school
that.
for how long now?
Well, what's this? I think this is my 3rd year.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And what is your
Criminal justice.
criminal justice?
Yes,
Gotcha.
so it's going to be into computer forensics.
Yeah.
So I only have 2 classes left. I'm taking one now, so that means after this one, I just have one. Then I graduate this June.
That's beautiful,
So,
bro.
yes.
You know, this
The
is how,
finish line.
and I'm gonna put this out there. This is how deep God is. I know that there's a purpose for our relationship
Yeah.
as friends, as God continues to work on that and build on that. This dude crosses my application to some of the benefits that I get for my family.
Right.
Like how? Out of all the people, out of all the
everybody.
he crosses my app, and I, just for the peace of mind of knowing that things are gonna be done right and well and in a timely manner, God puts this man to cross my app, and he like tells me, and I'm like, dude, whoa, like, and I'm finishing my application process for the next like fiscal year, and he's handling that. You know, God is just amazing that way. We're over here praying for like a new home as well, you know, a bigger place that we can kind of, you know, grow into as well for the next phase of our family. It's funny how God works things out, you know. I ask God, in this order, I want a new place. I want to get out of here in this apartment that I'm in now. We're outgrowing it for years now. We've been there going on 8 years now, 7 years going on 8. 8 has always been our number in our family. If you biblical numerology, 8 new beginnings. It's just an amazing thing how many times the number 8 shows up in our family. And you got to maybe do the homework of that. What is, you know, from birthdays to crucial events in your life. You know, what were those dates? How many times did it happen? You know, all of those little details, you know, God is in that. And it's interesting seeing God in that when you take the time. And so we're going in 8 years, and I'm telling God, this is the year I'm going to say, I'm going to do what I'm going to do as a man because there's so many things. As men, we have a lot of responsibility, a lot on our shoulders that we have to worry about. Our wives hold down the fort while we're out and about doing things for other people. We're under other bosses and people. We got to suck up and do all these different things to keep our family dynamic at home alive, right? All the sacrifices that we make and all the sacrifices that our wives make, so that then one day, and we at the same time balance to trusting God, to say, God, you got this, right? Because we can't do it all. If we get in the way of what God wants to do, then now we're in problems. But I told God this year, I was like, you know what, God, I never go all out on that, you know, become, you know, 5 million jobs to get into some different, you know, God has always opened up a lane for me. You know, I know you take on, like, the lane that God has opened for you is almost similar to mine, where the things that I want to expand on and get, you know, money from or something, I want it to be part of my calling. I don't want it to be something that I have to become something that I'm not. I'm not going to become some, what do you call that? They call the, everybody's doing it now. Like they're all becoming. I'm not wired that way, bro. To sell houses and you know, and real estate and all that. I'm not wired that way. So, but gotta open doors for me. You know, some of my friends are successful in that, and they do that, and it'll cross paths with me to be able to get a home one day or whatever. But gotta always open up a door for me that's in the music worship side of things, and it's amazing to see how God will do that for us to keep us in the lane that we belong without having to over stress about making money in some other outlandish way. You know, God opens the doors. You get to play here, you get to play there, and it's in the lane in the right time frame that you can make it, you can do it. And I thank God for that, you know. And what's next for you? I know you've produced albums, you've done things. Your wife does spoken word. You know, what do you think God is where do you think God is taking you in this season as you're finishing up school? You're starting to get freed up now. You have a career. Where do you see yourself in the next 5 years, maybe, or next 10 years, even if we could go that far out?
I'll tell you this much. After I graduate in June, I'm ready to get to work. So if that's making music, getting me and my wife's ministry up and running.
That's
because
great.
I told her, I was like, listen, we got to get you started. She be doing her little recording. I'm sorry, I'm putting you out there. I'm sorry. She actually does her recordings on her phone.
Yeah.
But she mixes it.
Sure.
So nobody will ever know.
Right.
I'm sorry I told you a secret. But I said, nah, babe, we can't be having you do that. Like, we going to do it the right way. We going, you know, I have the mixer. We, you know, we'll put it together.
Yes.
We're like, we got to get you up and running.
Absolutely.
We got to get your material out there. Whatever you need, that's what we're here. That's what I'm here for. We're a team.
Yes.
So you definitely want to get our ministry up and running.
That's great.
You know, you think right now we're busy with the twins and
course.
the toddlers.
Yes.
So it's like, but they're getting older now.
Yes.
So things are going to start getting easier.
Yeah.
And then now my plate, something being removed from my plate as far as me taking courses for school.
Yeah.
So it's like, okay, now I got more time.
Sure.
I got more time to do things. So
is the mindset after you graduate now finding something of a higher, like where you studied to be, or is where you are now?
No, I don't. My plan is not to stay there.
Okay.
I feel like I want to be an impact on helping others solve crime issues.
Yes.
Like a lot of the stuff that I'm learning in my course right now involves like looking into a phone and how to read hidden text messages and stuff like that, the codings you use, the programs you use.
That's amazing.
Which I find very interesting. I was like, man, I wish I knew about this earlier. I would have been did this.
Yeah.
But yeah, I feel like
that's amazing.
Where I'm at right now, there's no room for growth.
Yes.
So I
there's
feel
a
like
cap.
So I'm like, do I want to waste my last years staying here and not being able to elevate to another level, or do I change my career completely and already elevate way past where I'm at in like my first couple years?
Yeah.
So I'm like, you know, God has allowed me and gave me great support with my wife to take these courses and have my time to myself so I can.
That's amazing.
Graduate.
That sounds like it's like God is starting to put those pieces together now, lay them in the right place for you to act on it, which is what I'm also doing, like with God. Like I told you, I'm telling him, this is it. We're leaving our place this year. That's going to be the first step to a new beginning of something, you know, and to grow into something better. And, you know, we're not here to live an American dream. We're not here to try to be, you know, Googled and see what's my net worth and be over everybody. And, you know, I'm trying to just, you know, give my family a good life, you know, be a good leader, a good husband, you know, a good son, you know, and get into a place where God wants to use me and be open for it.
You see, what's interesting is I have a quick story to tell. You know, God knows everything.
Yeah.
So I was living at Fox Meadows in Maple Shade, New Jersey.
Okay.
I lived there for say 4 years, 4 or 5 years. So with rent, it goes up every year, increasingly high.
Yes.
So I was in like my final year, and I was like, you know, if I stay here another year, paying close to a mortgage.
Yes.
Let me try to buy a house. Let me try. Funny story. The realtor that helped me get my house is my ex-wife.
Dude. You see? What?
Yeah. The person that did the closing was my ex-wife.
Wow.
So, yeah.
Talk about full circle.
But God had a plan in everything, because that house is where my family is now.
Yes.
When I bought the house, it was just me and Melody.
Wow.
So that house was super huge.
Yeah, for just
nobody in there.
Yeah.
Like my whole attic didn't have anything. Yeah. Basement, nothing. Wow. It was just me, her. She had her room. I had my room. I wasn't even using the attic.
Wow.
Nothing in the basement. Living room super full.
Yeah.
You go in there now every day.
It's extreme now.
But God prepared me
yes.
for what was to come, not knowing I was going to have a huge family.
That's amazing though.
But it wasn't a point that like, oh my goodness, we got to get a house now.
Right,
like,
right.
It was already set.
Was there.
That's it was amazing. Already set up. And the year I got the house was the same year that me and my wife started talking.
Wow.
Not knowing that
was going to evolve into something. Yeah.
Build.
How God works, man.
Yeah.
Dude, that's crazy.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
And, the deal I got on the house was great. Mm-hmm. It was definitely less than what the rent would have been if I would have stayed at Fox Meadows.
Yeah. And that's my prayer too, man. That's my prayer. And I think it's a lot of people's prayers growing into a place like that where, they want the best for their family.
Right.
But, aren't bold enough to believe in God enough to see those moments open up like that. Right. Come on, like your ex-wife closed and and all this, and then you got your family, and now it's like, whoa, and it reeks of God. It's like it's God. It's all God. And it's like, okay, God, you can do something like that. And I've heard other stories as well that just say that's God.
Right.
If he can do that, what's the point,
right.
to even not believe in God. So definitely this is my year too.
Yeah.
And hopefully you guys are getting something from this as well, that this could be your year. And whenever that year comes, be of great faith in God that he'll pull y'all through whatever the case is. Now there's so much more stories that we can probably talk about, but I'm going to save it.
We're going to have a part 2.
Yeah, we're going to have a part 2 to the 2 to the 2 to the 2.
To the 2, yeah.
Because I chopped these up and you guys are getting these in like 15, 20 minute increments, but like I want to get you and your wife together eventually to have like a special marriage kind of, and I'll have my wife with me and we can all four just kind of be in this awesome space to talk awesome stuff, And
Absolutely.
This is just a beginning, Lindsey, and I think this is going to be beautiful how God just puts us together for what is in store, in the future for our lives. And so thank you so much for being a part of this. Thank you so much for even taking the call and taking some of your busy schedule time here. And many more times I think we're going to learn from this.
Yes.
And look back at these stories and be like, wow, look at where I came from 5 years ago.
Yes.
Look at what I said 5 years ago. And see where God takes us to the next level. So thank you so much, my man.
All right. Care, bro.
And you guys continue to stay in tune. CTCM Radio, a station for all nations. And this was, Worship Team Foundations this time around. I didn't even mention that in the beginning. But, you see the logos and you see all the intros. This was a special Worship Team Foundations with Lindsey Stevens. Stay tuned for more music or stay tuned for more show coming up in a little bit. Thank you.